always to talk about any of these programs, but today, let's focus on orphan drug designation. As you heard, it came up by the Orphan Drug Act, and in there it defines what a rare disease is. It talks about two aspects as amended. The main one, where almost all but 3 of our designations focus, is whether the disease or condition affects fewer than 200,000 persons in the United States. There is a provision about profit, but as I said, it's almost never used or effective, and so I'm not going to focus on that during this 10 minutes. But I will talk about, well, I'm actually not going to focus on it in this, because I know Paul's going to do that in just a little bit. But why do people even apply for designation? They're looking primarily for help in development, and incentives are available through the designation process. So these are the 3, and we'll talk more about them in the next presentation. This is a kind of a busy slide, but why I'm presenting it is it's a pathway that is supposed to show you just a couple things. One is that if you go from left to right across the top, you see the designation process in very simplified form, but it's an optional process. It's an optional process because you don't have to apply for designation to go ahead with a marketing application. And some people are confused by that. Also, it's a separate process from the marketing application process, which is down on the bottom. And there are, OOPD is what I'm calling Office of Orphan Products Development. It's different from the review divisions, which are CEDAR and CBER down below. So it's a real simplified slide just for people who may not be familiar, but each of these will evaluate a submission. You must apply for or request orphan designation prior to the marketing application. So there's a timing element too, so that's all. Some statistics for people who have heard there's many people who've had an interest in orphan drug designation. Since the 35 years, we've had 6,600 designations. Of those, about 70% generally from year to year have some level of success in getting designation, and of those, 732 received orphan approved indications through the marketing process. Not all those occurred evenly through the years. As you can see, this is a chart that you may be familiar with, but it's a time chart of both in the blue is the requests, and in the red what we designated. And you can see it's grown much more in recent years, these requests and designations. And so as we've come across, as we come to the problem of increasing, we have a situation where we needed to look at ways becoming more efficient in that designation process. And so you may have seen the commissioner had put out a modernization blog in June, and we went from having a tracking of 120 days, a certain percentage of 120 days. We call that a backlog, and we've eliminated that. We eliminated it ahead of the schedule that was put before us. And now all our designations are done within 90 days. We get a request request gets a response within 90 days. We did this through a number of steps, and a lot of them are about standardization of the form that sponsors use coming to us, the forms that we use in our review. We streamlined those aspects, and we've also, in some cases, streamlined our activities. So we've decreased certain activities in our office to allow us to sustain this goal. We also have the option of consulting out. We've always had that option, but now we use a more standardized consult. What I mean by a consult is we may need expertise to help in some of our decision making, and we have that available in the agency and in NIH, wherever we want to go. So we also have an orphan council, and that orphan council can help us resolve any issues. It's the senior leadership across our agency to resolve any issues. And we started this pilot back on Rare Disease Day in February. So there's one other thing I want to mention, that there are some critical tools that we think are important and consistent and correct decisions. We need that foundation, the law, the regulations, our standard job aids and templates that help us make consistent decisions and correct decisions. We need an outstanding team to do that, so we have talented and well-trained professionals to do this and carry out this with supervision, with regular meetings of the reviewers and with the management. And so that outstanding team aspect is critical to us. And as I already mentioned, consultation is so important to be able to do that and be able to reconsider determination. I ask all of you who have a great interest to look at our regulations as they were clarified a few years ago. The preamble gives you a lot of information about how we do our job. But we did extract some key elements for you. When we do a review, we look at four questions. One is, what is the disease or condition? We look at it pairing with the drug. It's very important to look at the drug or the disease and the mechanism of action to determine really what is the correct indication to be, or the correct disease to be considering it. Then we look at whether it's rare. That has a huge impact for us. And you've seen the rare definition. I'll talk a little more about that. Is there sufficient rationale that the drug will be promising for what it's intended to do? And we, of course, have to look at whether it is already approved. So I've got a little bit of information if you're looking at the slide set later that's available to you. How we do a designation, when we look at what the disease or condition is, we give you an example of how we split out diseases over time. It can change with the science, and we need to be ready for that. When we look at whether it's rare, we're looking at authoritative references to help us. Sometimes we have excellent reference, like within the NCI SEER database. Sometimes not, but once in a while, and it's very unusual that we are there. We may take a common disease and look at it as a subset, an orphan subset. And to do that, I would suggest again you go to our regulation. It will tell you that an orphan subset is designed to prevent misuse. And there is a very definite attempt to do that. So an orphan subset is based on the characteristics of the drug, which would limit its use only to that subpopulation, and it should not be used outside that population is the concept. Artificial subsets, such as based on what they plan to study, should not be considered. We have a pediatric subpopulation guidance, which I'd be happy to talk to you a little bit more about after. It's not about a subset, but it's about, we used to offer a designation if the disease was common, but the pediatric subpopulation was not what is rare. We used to designate that. We no longer are expecting to be doing that. And that's what that guidance came out in the summer. It's not really about an orphan subset, but I can distinguish that for you a little bit more later. Our current designations are not affected by that guidance. The remaining questions about whether scientific rationale is sufficient, we'll look at data from humans or from an appropriate animal model. We'll look at whether it's already approved, as I mentioned before. If it is, then you'll have to give a clinical superiority hypothesis, and it has to be adequate. And lastly, after the designation's there, if a marketing approval is successful, we will look at whether you meet the criteria for exclusivity for the 7 years. Exclusivity can be broken in case of a drug shortage, but we otherwise would not approve the same drug for that same indication for 7 years. We have additional web links. I love this topic. I'm happy to speak more to you, but I know through time, I'm going to just thank you for that opportunity, and I'm turning it back to you.
Thank you, Deborah. That was really